Now, unfortunately, the debt standoff still continues. There have been minute little developments here and there on Capitol Hill, but at the end of the day, lawmakers still do not have a deal, and we are closer and closer to D-Day. D for the August 2nd deadline until the United States, according to Tim Geithner at least, is ready to default. Now, unfortunately, some of the developments that we've been seeing are not optimistic here. Moody's just came out today saying that regardless of whether Reid and Boehner's plans work out, whether the Congress is actually able to pass those plans that cut the deficit, they will still lead to a negative outlook on the AAA rating. Now, as lawmakers continue to struggle to get their act together here in Washington, D.C., we saw President Obama come out earlier saying, hey, guys, maybe if the American people tweet at Congress enough, we can get our act together. Not sure how that's going to pan out, but for more on this, let's turn to Gerald Celente. He is the publisher of the Trends Journal and the director of the Trends Research Institute. Gerald, what do you make of all this insanity here on Capitol Hill?
Well, and anybody that's watching this and has any self-respect, I don't know how they could believe what a politician tells them. And now hearing Obama tweeting, this is Jersey Shore on the Potomac. It's Snooky Stupid at its most obvious height. Moody's is correct. The United States is $14.3 trillion in debt. Debt deal or no debt deal, the debt still exists. This economic policy is a total failure. The TARP under Bush didn't work. Obama's stimulus didn't work. The Federal Reserve's backdoor loans and QE 1s and 2s didn't work. The Republicans' program is not going to work. The country is going bankrupt. Just look at the numbers. The numbers don't lie. The politicians lie.
Well, and the politicians apparently have been busier debating Lord of the Rings, as we saw Senator McCain on the Senate floor, than real policy here. But, you know, the thing that strikes me about this whole mess is this fight over the debt ceiling. I mean, we're talking about past obligations. This is money that we've already, that America has already promised to spend. We're not even dealing with the revenue problems and the greater financial obligations we'll have down the line. Why are we fighting about this and not the bigger picture, at least, if we're going to fight about something?
Well, you're right. Let's look at the bigger picture. First of all, they're devaluing the dollar, and we've been saying it all along. Gold in the last month has gained $115 an ounce. The dollar's crashing against the Swiss franc and other currencies. You can see what's going on. And let's look at the bigger picture. What they're not talking about in all this deficit reduction. Hey, how about the military budget? Try that one on for size. How about slashing foreign aid, $57 billion a year? How about companies like General Electric that made $14 billion last year paying no taxes? Look, there's plenty of room out there to start reining this thing in and turning it around. But you see, Lucy, we do not have a representative form of government. That's only for little kiddies to believe. We have a government that represents only the very powerful and the very rich, and that's all this is about, letting them keeping their perks.
But, you know, just to play devil's advocate here, when these Tea Party folks got elected into office, you know, they came in on the promise to shake things up, to change things. I mean, do you think that maybe they think that we do need to sort of let the system collapse in order to shake it up and change things? And what's their motivation here? Well, how do they see this?
Well, you know, I don't know how they see it, but the system is collapsing. Well, all you have to, you can wait for the sound, but you can see the collapse coming in front of us. What the Tea Party is basically doing, their only game is to let's cut back on entitlements. Like we're not entitled to anything. And of course, you know, entitlements do have to be reined in, such as Bush's program to let prescription drugs be written off through Medicare. You know, things like that. But that was for big pharma, so that's okay. But when it gets down to the real money, $1.5 trillion with a T for defense and cutting military spending, the Tea Party has lockjaw.
And why aren't we talking about the sanity or the insanity of this defense spending? I mean, you would think at this point we're 3 days away from potential default. How come these folks on Capitol Hill don't say, all right, why don't we finally start considering this kind of thing for cuts?
Again, look at the people. It's like turning on the Three Stooges and waiting for an intelligent answer to come from Larry, Moe, or Curly, or Bonner, Reed, or Pelosi. I mean, when are people going to grow up? Politics is nothing more than show business for ugly people, and all you have to do is tune in, and you can see it unfold before your eyes. They're incapable, and they're inept, and the same people that caused the problem, now we're looking for them to solve the problem. That's a definition of insanity.
So, Gerald, what do you see happening come August 2nd? Are we going to return to the agrarian economy of the good old days?
No, they'll pay the debt. I don't see a default coming, but the collapse is coming regardless. Again, let's look at the real numbers. The GDP was 1.3%. It was supposed to come in at 1.8%. They revised the first quarter down from 1.9% to 4%. Look at what's going on with unemployment. None of these policies that they're talking about are going to correct those problems.
And I guess final question, Gerald. Next election cycle, what the heck do we do about this? If these guys aren't representing our interests, what do you do as a voter?
Well, that's what the Trends Journal that we just put out is all about. Direct democracy. Let the people vote. We don't have a representative form of government. This has to change. This isn't a representative form of government. Again, they only represent the very rich, the very powerful, and the special interests. Let the people vote on these issues.
But very quickly, the people did vote. Well, I mean, okay, they voted on the issues, but what if the people don't really understand the issues? I mean, the people voted for the so-called Tea Party. The Tea Party representatives don't seem to understand the issues. What if we see something worse? I'm not saying that the American people aren't capable of making good decisions, but not everyone's an economic expert.
Well, look at the people making the decisions now. You know, it's mob rule. The Bananos and the Gambinos, just put a different name on it, the Republicans and the Democrats. They can't make the decision. If we, the people, vote, at least we will get the future that we really deserve, rather than the one that's being foisted on us. If it could work in Switzerland, it could work in the United States. It could work worldwide.
All right, Gerald, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us today. That was Gerald Celente, the publisher of the Trends Journal and the director of the Trends Research Institute.